Hello everybody, I have a brand new video for you today. I am going to be featuring these gorgeous 6 by 8.5 paper pads from Honeybee Stamps, as well as this brand new hot foil alphabet bundle from Spellbinders. I'm going to start by creating the title using these foil plates and dies and stencils from Spellbinders. So these are brand new in the shop. They were just released and they are absolutely fabulous. I'm going to talk about them here for a couple of minutes. If you don't have a hot foil machine, if you're not into hot foil, you can fast forward a little bit if you like and just see the part where I create the layout. But I really want to talk about this bundle because it's so fabulous. This bundle comes with the hot foil plates, the coordinating dies, and then the stencil that you can use to color the inside. I'm going to be foiling using espresso bean cardstock today. And when I say cardstock, what I really mean is foil. So one of the reasons I love this bundle is because everything can be used separately. So you can foil the alphabets, color them in with the stencil, and then die cut all of your letters. Or you can skip foiling and use the stencil and then match up the die cut, the metal dies, and die cut the letters. Or you can just die cut the letters out of whatever pattern paper you would like and they come out beautifully. Or you can foil the letters and then you can die cut them. They work so that this whole bundle works seamlessly together and you have so many options. The other, to me, like a super amazing, awesome part of this bundle is that it is only $28. So if you know the other like awesome alphabet bundle that I use a lot is from Altenew. That one's $60. So this one is less than half the price and it's gorgeous. The letters are small, they're not big, but that's okay. In my case, I'm going to create a pretty long, big title, and it's going to span across about 10 inches of my layout. So there is a use for them in scrapbooking, right? We quite often want to do titles that are longer and we need smaller lettering options. So definitely not a huge drawback, but just something to know that these letters they're not big. They're kind of small and petite, but so gorgeous. Now that I've waxed poetic about my letters, let's get to work on our layout. So I'm starting with a peach sheet of Coconut Swirl cardstock, my favorite go-to white cardstock. I am going to start with the spring paper pad that has the patterns, but then I also have the paper pad that has the polka dots, solid colored polka dots, and diagonal designs. I am sticking to like the peachy pink colors initially to back my photo and to cut some strips from. I'm going to create one of my very favorite go-to designs for today's layout. This is called the shelf layout. Or the shelf design. If you want to see more about my go-to designs, there is an entire class that I teach through my YouTube membership. It's $5 a month and you get access to, I think right now there are 8 different classes plus lots of other content. And I do like at least 2, sometimes 3 videos, exclusive videos per month. And then I also do zoom crops. Those are a little more irregular. We do them when I post that I have some time and things like that, but it's really, really fun, and I really like my members. So if you're interested in that, you can always find it linked in the description box. I'm going to map my photos using this gorgeous like Merlot colored paper. It's going to match my son's shirt in these photos perfectly, and I love it. Love that color. There's also a Catherine Pooler ink card called Merlot, and it's one of my very favorite ink colors. It's the ink that I actually use to stencil most of my letters. Now I'm going to take all of these papers and I'm going to cut them into 1-inch strips. I want to get as much of this pattern as I can onto this page. I really love Honeybee Stamps 6 by 8.5 paper pads. They have the loveliest of designs, and I feel like even though they're not 12 by 12 papers, they can absolutely be used for 12 by 12 layouts. I had purchased for my design team products this month 4 of their paper pads, and you're going to see me using them a lot because they just are so inspiring to me right now. I really, really love them. So I will definitely be pulling them out and using them over and over again. So I'm just continuing on here. I'm going to cut all of these strips, and a lot of these papers are double-sided, so I'm kind of deciding, do I want 2 1-inch strips or do I just want 1, depending on what the other side of the paper looks like. I'm going to ink all of these papers up using my Vintage Photo Distress Oxide ink, and then starting from the bottom of the page, I'm going to adhere these strips down. I am trying to get the strips, the first one, centered. Once I have the first one centered, then I can just layer up the rest. And as I go, you'll see here, I'm going to kind of pull up the edges of some of them just to give a little more dimension and interest to these layered strips. Then I'm going to go ahead and put my photos right on top of all of those strips. These are 2 photos of my oldest son. I don't get to scrapbook him as much as my little one. And this was this summer. We were putting in all of our flowers out front, and he was helping me, and so was our little Doxy Fitz. So I just happened to snap these gorgeous photos of Morgan and Fitz kind of just cuddling in the front yard grass while I was putting flowers in. They're so cute. I absolutely love how these pictures turned out. For embellishments, I went through my metal dies and my punches, and I found some gorgeous leaves and some clouds and a punch that punches just these little flowers, and I thought, perfect, I'm going to make my own embellishments for this layout. Here are the colors that I chose for my clouds and my leaves. Then I'm going to take the scraps from the more solid colored papers that are in my strips, and I'm going to punch and punch and punch a ton of flowers. I ended up punching way more flowers than I really needed, but you can never have too many flowers. So the extra ones, I just put them into a little baggie and went ahead and saved them with this paper pad. So I have them for another day to use on another project. I'm going to use my Nuvo Deluxe adhesive and get my title in place. And I love this new, so the Nuvo just came out with, well, maybe not just, but recently came out with like a gigantic bottle of deluxe adhesive as opposed to the little bottles. So good. The little ones last me a long time, so I'm super excited to have a big one. Once I get my title into place, you'll be able to see that even though the individual letters are a bit small, when you're creating a title and you know, it's a little bit of a longer title or a bigger title, and this alpha is perfect for that. I'm going to start with my clouds, and I'm going to tuck them in and around my photo and also down below at my title. So I'm going to have a cluster to the right and to the left of my pictures, and then one that's going to have my title in it more down towards the bottom. The leaf dies are from Echo Park, and those clouds are so old. I don't even know where they were from. But if I can find something similar to the leaves or the clouds, I will link them up. I'm not sure if A Cherry on Top has something that would be similar to these or not, but I will certainly look. And if I can find something, I will link it up for you in the description box, along with all the products that I used from the shop today. Once I have the clouds and leaves in place, it's time to work on the flowers. So I'm going to use some foam dots. I'm going to cut them up. I cut them into pieces, but some of them are going to get popped up, and then some of them are going to be tucked underneath, and I'm going to place them all around all those die cut leaves. For my flower centers, I'm going to add a sequin to each of the flower centers, and I'm adding some black sequins to some of the centers, and then some colors that coordinate too. I have that really dark title, and while the foil that I used was espresso bean, it's just reading dark when you look at the page. So I wanted to be able to add a couple pops of black. There's also some dark tones and some black in the photos, and I don't want those black tones to like stick out like a sore thumb. So I'm going to be adding some darker and some black tones with my little detail embellishments at the end. So I'm starting with some of these sequins, and I'm going to put some darker and some lighter sequins in the centers of all of the flowers. And then I'm going to come in with some black Nuvo drops and just add some little highlights on the clouds and some little clusters of drops around all of my leaves and flowers. And my layout is finished. Thank you so much for joining me today. Here are all of the close-ups. There is a coordinating blog post over at A Cherry on Top that will be linked up in the description box as well. I hope you will take a peek at some of these honeybee paper pads and those gorgeous foiled alphabets. Talk to y'all again soon. Bye.